afternoon. It's 1:07 p.m. on Tuesday, December 23rd. I'm broadcasting live from 9,400 feet atop a mountain in the high Rockies of Colorado. It's where I choose to spend most of my time. This is Unmasked. I'm your host, Jason Fortune. Today we have more of a special show. I need to back up, and I'm very sorry. This isn't a show, this is a circle, and this is a space where we share. And today I am taking this space and doing some of my own sharing. The last week, or we're on day 9 now, the last 8 days I've been working at getting the studio set up, how the controls work, making sure the levels were good, all this, thousands of details, so we could get to the point where I could actually just kind of engage you a little bit more in a storytelling way and be able to talk with you and not be so worried about what's going on around me. So it's a significant circle because I'm going to start sharing the story of my life and what got me here today. And we're not going to hear all of it because that would take way too long. But we are going to go back before me and start where the intergenerational trauma began. And for the people that I'm going to talk about, there was more people behind them. We're talking about generations coming in to this person who I am, a 52-year-old man with CPTSD. During this share, I'm going to stop and have breaths. And if you've been with me at all for the last 8 days, you know this is something I highly this is something that I believe in, is deep grounding breaths no matter what's going on. Please hold for just one quick second. I need my producers talking to me. And I apologize for that little setback, and here we go. The breaths. No matter what's going on, no matter how fast everything is going, no matter what you're getting ready to do, sometimes we have to have hard conversations, and sometimes they come on quick. No matter what's happening, you can take a deep breath, and you can slow down, and you can ground yourself. And that's what I need to do right now, because what's getting ready to come out of me is a lot. So, here we go. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Slowly. Now exhale even slower through your mouth, like you're blowing out of a straw. Let's do another deep breath. Take a slow, deep breath through your nostrils, filling those lungs up from the bottom to the top. Now exhale to the count of 6, slowly through your mouth. Sorry. Quick button I need to ignore the production that's going on around me and focus with you, and I will here, and I'm here with you. Thank you. Let's have a little music, you know. When I, in anything that's going on around me, if you ever spend time with me, it's always about music, and I am always playing music all the time. So if you don't mind a second, I'm going to pull some up. Hope these levels sound good for everybody. If they don't, please let me know. Producers, levels sound good? just watching frame rates. I'm being told it's a little bit choppy, and from looking at my gauges, it is. If you don't mind for a second, we're going to let Starlink catch up with us. Sometimes it's part of what happens when you're broadcasting from a mountain. So thank you. Thank you, producers, for letting me know. You know, I could move fast and I could get real choppy, and I just don't want to. There's a few things going on right now. Starlink, I'm kind of fighting a little bit of bandwidth today. Getting the broadcast up and making sure the levels are right, making sure everything sounds good. It just takes a little bit. And I appreciate you for any of my friends and family that are hanging in there and watching me today. Today's a real important day. Today is a day where the silence stops. Today is a day where we get heard. And, you know, to bring it back into where we're at, today is my grandpa's birthday. He was born on December 23rd in 1928, and he passed away in 2001. And it has taken me this long to process everything and be able to openly talk about it in a forum like this, where it's live and public. And I'm ready. I'm ready to. My grandpa, he's the one that started this, and he was the first cycle breaker that I can see in the family. He broke the first cycles and did everything he could. But sometimes the intergenerational trauma is so great that even when you break the cycles, there's inertia left over afterwards. And after he broke these cycles, there was inertia. With time, I've been able to gain clarity. I've been able to talk to enough of my cousins, enough of the people around me. Getting sober from alcohol allowed the memories to come back, which were horrendous, but it filled in all the pieces. It's taken many, many years for this to become speakable. So my grandpa was born on a farm in 1928 and was born to a farming family. And by the time he's, 10, 12, 13, they've moved on to a pretty big farm in the middle of nowhere on these isolated lands in between Colorado and Kansas, right on the borderlands of Colorado and Kansas. And I don't know if you've ever drove I-70 and you drove from Denver, across to Kansas City or any of those drives. You know how desolate it gets out there, to where you even wonder, how could people live here? And I mean, it's basically a moonscape. It's any people that do live it there, they're living in outposts, in way stations, way out on the edge of civilization. And there's no oversight. Church is the oversight. Schools are the oversight. Everybody, we've all been knowing how to get through. If we're not being abused by the church and the schools, we know how to keep from letting them know that we're getting abused. So there was no oversight out on these farms. My grandpa's the oldest of a big farm family. And like everything, just like all of us growing up, he learned things before he had language or choice. And this wasn't, yes, he learned how to bale hay. He learned how to take care of cows. He was a farm kid in everything we see. The Walton family, What else? What else is this great American myth making of the heart of America and farmers out there? You know, that was happening. And then there's also what happens when nobody's looking, behind closed doors, in the barn. I don't need to tell you the story in graphic detail, because your mind already knows how to knit everything together, and you're not far from the truth. The truth is right there in everything that I said. My grandpa absorbed silence and harm without knowing what it was, just like many of us. But it wasn't in a city. It wasn't around a lot of people like most of us mix around. You have to remember, these were just a few people here and there. There was a patriarch that ruled everything. He was the judge, the jury, the executioner, and what he said goes. And then there's the ranch hands, the uncles, the cousins, and in there are bad actors. There are men that have been allowed to get away with extremely heinous crimes, and it's been covered up. And the family helps cover it up. And it's covered up under cloaks of religion. Well-to-do families that own lots of land, lots of farms. Just like anywhere else in the world, only it's much easier to hide. Much, much easier to hide. My grandpa is a deeply intelligent man, and he feels a lot. And what he learned on that farm, he learned before he knew any better. The farm is vast. It's isolated. It's unprotected. It's too large for safety. And it's too quiet for accountability. And that's what my grandpa was born into. I need to pause for just a second if you're okay and take a break. Remember what I said about the deep breathing. I'm going to be doing my own. Just taking a few to kind of pull myself back together and take a break between this and just give myself a moment. And I'm happy you're giving me a moment, and I also give you a moment. So my grandpa, through all of this, through his own trauma going on that farm and what's all happening out there, he is a star student. He's valedictorian of his high school. He plays saxophone. He is an artist in his own right, and he's musical, you know. Anyway, he goes off to college and to get his engineering degree. You know, he is from a big farm family in Kansas. He goes to the main farming school in Kansas and enrolls in engineering. And while he's there, he meets my grandma. And in meeting my grandma, it changes his life. He gets to meet her family. he gets to meet people. They're from an educated background and they're from Oklahoma, and it's different. They're not farm people. They're not isolated. They don't have the same intergenerational traumas that Grandpa's family has. And he gets to see more of a loving family and a kind family in my grandma's family, and it changes him. I think he realized what the deal was right then. And, he gets out of the war, or he gets out of school with his engineering degree, and he ends up in the Korean War running the motor pool over there in, I'd have to ask my grandma. I think it was outside London. Anyway, he's the head of a motor pool, and he's running that. And my grandpa's a very intelligent man. He can fix anything there is. There's not anything he can't fix. He's good with people. He's a real cool guy. And so he's over there during the war doing that thing, and he gets to see Europe, and he gets to see more of life. He's getting to see things outside of that farm, which a lot of my family never got off of, and some of them are still there today. Some of us are survivors from that farm. I would have to maybe say all of us are survivors from that farm. After the Korean War, my great-grandfather, asks my grandfather to come back and run the farm. And my grandpa doesn't want to, but he tells him, just come for a little bit and I'll get somebody else to take over and run it. And my grandpa concedes, and he goes to the farm. And oops, we're having some dropped frame rates. I'm very sorry. Let's pause for a second. Let's pause for just a second. Let the waves of the internet kind of stabilize. Whew. Today's been kind of not the greatest day for broadcast, but we're doing this. It doesn't matter. It's choppy. So my grandpa goes back to the farm after the Korean War. He concedes to my great-grandpa's wishes, and he goes back there to run it for the family for just a little while. And a little while turns into 16 years. His 2 girls are out there, and his 2 boys are out there, and they're raised out there. And there's no escape. My grandpa is one man. He's also been part of this problem and wrapped up in it, but he's one man and he can't protect everybody. There's ranch hands, and like I said, there's bad actors, there's bad cousins, there's bad uncles. There's been a breeding in this family out there, men popping out and getting to do whatever they want, and other people covering up for them. Abusers and conformers and deniers. Still to this day, still to right now, possibly even watching this right now, denying or abusing. My grandpa did not choose to return, but he did go back. And all of his kids were subjected to what went on out there. The same traumatic conditions existed, if not more, than when he was a kid. More people have been born, more hiding had happened, more abuse had happened, and it compounds. Abuse does not go away. Abuse breeds. It's hard for people to come off this farm and tell the truth of what happened to them. Would you? If you're watching this now and something has happened to you, did you tell anybody about it? No accusations. I'm just saying this shit is hard. It's hard to deal with. It's hard to discuss. It's hard to talk about. What this show is about is letting light into the darkness, shining light into the darkness, opening a spotlight and shining that into the darkness. Abusers have no right to hide anymore. And in 2025, it's finally time to jerk them out of the darkness, pull them into the light, and let whatever happens, happens. And that's what part of this is right now. Part of today, part of celebrating this on my grandpa's birthday, part of him breaking the cycle and then allowing space for me, saving me from killing myself, from being in jail for the rest of my life. That man saved me, and it's why I'm sitting here now telling this story. That land was exposed. Men moved through it. Boundaries were absent. Children were unprotected. When my grandpa was back on the farm for those 16 years, the same traumas were revisited, this time onto my mother, my aunt, and my uncle. Not because he intended harm, but because the farm was too large, too vast, and too unprotected. Bad men had access, and silence did the rest. Exactly how this happened. Let's all take a few breaths while we're moving through all of this and letting this settle. While my grandpa was out on that farm, his traumas resurfaced. What he had tried to get away from was there again. He was in the mix of it. He couldn't escape it. He was running it. His children were there. His wife was there. And he couldn't get out. His dad basically lied to him, and no one came to let my grandpa get away from that farm. That's not what he wanted to do or be, but he was back there, and he was running it, and it couldn't stop. My grandpa had his own complex PTSD that lived in his body. This is a stress disorder. You cannot run from it, and you cannot fight it. You have to learn to live with it. You have to walk through the fire of the pain and everything that happened to be able to deal with this. My grandpa's out there, the isolation, like I told you, the vastness of everything, and we're not just talking about a few hundred acres, we're talking about vastness. It got to him like it would anybody that has complex PTSD and is dropped back into the area of their own trauma, the geographic location of where the abuse occurred. He became suicidal. That's part of complex PTSD, and if any of you know about it, have it, or don't know about it, it's prevalent, and that's one of the symptoms. This is not a weakness. Suicidality is not a weakness, it's a consequence. And people don't dig enough when they find out that there's somebody that is suicidal. They don't find out why. They just go for the pills, medicine, and straitjackets. That's how this family works too, this farm family. The abused get crucified, hung out as crazy, hung out as alcoholics, drug addicts, whores. That's how you do it. That's how the cycle is, to protect the abusers. The abused must be ostracized. Being back in all of this was eating my grandpa alive. And that trauma caught up with him. And he had a moment of clarity. He had a moment of clarity where he realized he had to get the fuck out at all costs. And also, he was jacked. And this wasn't something that the church could handle. There was absolutely no therapy in the mid-60s, mid-1960s for what he went through in his life and what happened out there on the farm. And he got up, sold all of his land, grabbed his kids, and he enrolled as a PhD candidate in Columbia, Missouri, at that university there. A PhD candidate in psychology. Why? Because my grandpa's a polymath, and he wanted to fix himself, and he didn't know how, and he didn't know who to ask. So he went to the university where he had access to everything. He had enough money from selling his farm that he was able to do this, and he literally broke the cycle and got up and changed his life. And I can't imagine what that was like for his family, for everybody around him, for everybody in the middle of this huge culture. It's not huge, it's a vast culture with a few people, but in the middle of all this, to finally get up and just bolt in the opposite direction into a PhD in psychology. This wasn't enlightenment or, you know what it was? It was survival. It was survival. It was break and run. It was get the fuck out. And I need to fix myself and try to make this stop happening. It was an attempt to protect his family. It wasn't about abandoning the land. It was about trying to save himself and the family. You know what happens that's interesting when you do this, though? You can't bail on what's inside you, and you can't bail on what's happened. And I know my grandpa, his heart was in the right place and his intentions were in the right place, but you can't escape it. Even though he's over there in Columbia, Missouri, that land in Kansas is always inside him. That land in Kansas is inside all of us that survived this. He kept silent. He never talked about this stuff. I've had to do so much work and so much diligence to be able to tell the story, talk to so many cousins, and piece things together from the outside, from the people that denied to talk about the story and denied that anything ever happened, namely my own family. So the trauma didn't stay behind. Grandpa's silence carried it forward. His children's silence carried it forward. My grandma's silence carried it forward, knowingly or unknowingly. And the moral right here is, what isn't spoken what isn't spoken about doesn't disappear. It doesn't go away. It travels. It travels downhill, and it multiplies. You know, it is the exact same fractal and exact same combination in the way of cancer. Cancer works the same way. This is Unmasked. I'm Jason Fortune, your host. And why this space exists is because silence protects abuse. Speaking breaks inheritance. This is not about blame. It's about truth. We hold this space every day at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We also host a live show at 6:30 on TikTok Live, where we hold spaces to talk about stuff like this. At 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time, you can find me on Twitch and YouTube, and at 6:30 p.m. you can find us, my co-host Carol Ann, on TikTok Live. This space exists because we no longer have to be silent. I'm not being silent anymore. Neither should you. The company that I've co-founded with Carol Ann exists to create small spaces like this, where people can come together online anonymously and talk about the things that hurt, the things that feel good, the things they're struggling with. There are PTSD groups, LGBTQ plus groups, men's and women's groups, and even, I think most importantly, grief groups. And none of us know how to grieve. I haven't really met a good griever yet. And I'm not a good griever either. I'm just saying grieving is something that we don't know how to do. And a lot of us hold more PTSD in our bodies than we know about. And we call it, I don't know, what are the labels for PTSD and complex PTSD that's undiagnosed? Bipolar 2, bipolar 1, ADHD, alcoholism, drug addiction. What else? He's a huge asshole and I just don't know why. She sleeps with everyone and just can't help herself. He has no ambition and he won't do anything. He cannot find himself and he cannot find his way in the world. These are all different labels, different ways people talk about PTSD without talking about PTSD. And that's why I'm here, sharing this story and sharing all this with you now. So, we're at 35 minutes. After my grandpa graduated with his PhD in psychology, he moved to a city and tried to reestablish his family and restart. And from the surface, it looked like everything was good and everything was restarting. And in all of that, there started to show cracks. Cracks started to come through in the way of his kids. What was going on there? What was happening to his kids? What his kids were doing? What his kids were engaging in? What my mom was engaging in? How my aunt was hiding? How my uncle was hiding? These three. And And it started to show, though. It even started to show in me later on, living with my mom, living with a woman that was showing extreme signs of complex PTSD. And I was an only child that was raised by her. And what her and I went through together because she was so unhealthy is for another day and another story. But that farm was there with us, too. That farm never left. Some of my family that's watching now, the farm probably hasn't left them either. Any of you that are watching me that are survivors right now that have went through any of this, it's time to start speaking up. You're not alone. You're not a drug addict. You're not an alcoholic. You've been hurt, and you need to talk about the pain, and you need to be witnessed, and you need to be held. That might be small groups for you. That might be in anonymous small groups, and if that is possible, Sage Collective is here for that. It could be coming on this show and talking with me and talking in the chats. There's a few ways to connect and be seen and be held, but you're not alone. Survivors are never alone, because first of all, they have their selves. We have ourselves, and we're fucking resilient. We are still alive, and we are still here. And now it's time to start telling the stories, just like I'm doing. It translated all the way out to by the time it reached me. I've been through 2 drug rehabs. I've been arrested twice at Christmas time. I've worn the label of bipolar and drug addict and alcoholic. I'd have probably a few others, and all it ever was the PTSD that came down from my family. And as I break the cycles here, I wasn't able to break the cycles when I was younger. I raised a child, and that child was raised in chaos and violence and alcoholism and did not have a childhood. And he struggles now today. We struggle. Started all the way back on that farm. Moved across the United States. And, it didn't get better, it got worse. My mom met a man when she finally, when she got married her first time, her first of 5 times. When my mom got married to her first husband, he had been abused by the Catholic clergy. Abused people find each other. Abused people find each other, they make more babies, and then they abuse them. And that's the story of when you don't walk through the fire of your own abuse, you become an abuser. And also then a denier, conformer, all of that happens. This cycle happens when you do not break the cycle. And as I'm sitting here breaking the cycle now, I did not break it earlier, and I'm dealing with the fallout from that. I didn't know, just like my grandpa. What you are raised in is what you think life is like until you realize it's not like that. Being able to share this with you feels good. It's not easy. My neck hurts real bad. And that's my sign in my body when I'm feeling the stress of this type of stuff. I'm shaky, my CPTSD is up, my lower back hurts and my neck hurts, and I haven't done anything for that to happen. It's because of when you have things that happen to you and you don't really deal with them, or you don't listen to your body, they manifest. And not only is that a manifestation, your body will talk to you. I'm talking about stressful things right now, and it hurts a little bit. It hurts. That's what we're here for, is to start these spaces. This is my show, Unmasked. I'm Jason Fortune. I'll come on every day at 1 o'clock. Not every day will be like this. I hope it's not. But today was a special day. It was my grandfather's birthday, and I was compelled by him to go ahead and start talking about this story. And there's more to come. There's a book. But this is where I open space and I kindly share with others what's going on and hold space for all of them. There is always space with me for any survivor. No matter who you are, if you are a survivor, you have space with me. If you're an abuser, you do not have space with me. If you are an unrepentant abuser, you do not have space with me, and you will be drug into the light. That's my promise. That's my holiday present for you. Perfect time to take a breath after all that. Let's take a deep grounding breath as we end this session, this circle. As we start to close this circle, take a deep breath in through your nose. Take a deep breath, or exhale through your mouth slowly. My sleeping poodle behind me is doing exactly that. She's breathing very deeply, and I encourage you to take a deep breath too. We've been together for 45 minutes today. That's been a lot. I've tried to keep it non-triggering. I've tried to just tell the story without dropping too much. You'll get that later. Let's go ahead and play a little music. Music is always a beautiful thing. If you listen real quietly right now, you might hear my poodle. Okay. It's been an honor to share this time with you. It's been an honor to build a studio, to have this ability to broadcast out to you. It's been an honor to share my story, and for anyone listening that has a story, that my story is your story. That's why I'm doing this. I've been in a lot of healing groups over my life, whether that's AA, NA, MA. What else? I've been in a psychedelic program for the last 2 years that has given me the immense amount of healing that I have space to talk about that. And during this program, I have sat in on hundreds of group therapy sessions, group circles, where I listened to other people and their story was my story. And when I said something and when I talked to them, my story became their story. They recognized themselves in me as I recognized myself in them. That's why I'm doing all this. That's why I open this space. I'm not doing this to podcast. I'm not doing this to broadcast. I'm just doing this to share space because it was such a healing and profound experience for me that I wanted to bring it to the masses. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's a high degree of ignorance and arrogance or I'm on a mission and my grandpa is pushing me to keep breaking the cycles. But that's why I'm doing this. Thank you all for being here today. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll continue the story. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow, but we'll continue on from my grandpa and continue on out. But you've kind of felt the path. And today, what I was celebrating was his journey, his life story, his dedication to breaking the cycle and putting me in a place where I was able myself to carry on and break the rest of the cycles. This is very hard work, and most people can't undertake this type of work. And my grandpa blessed me with the fortitude, the ability, the intelligence to pull this on through and share this story with everybody. So thank you for letting me share this with you today. For any of you out there, like I said, any of you out there hurting, any of you out there needing to feel connected and seen, please remember that you always have yourself. And even if you feel like it's a black hole or it's a huge pile of shit, you are in there and you are still fighting and you are resilient and you will get through it. And you know what the best way to get through it is? Honestly, walk through the fire. If you're sitting at the bottom and you're in pain, you walk through the fire because it's not getting any better anyway. So go ahead and start the journey through the fire because the other side is worth living for. And you know that because you're still alive. And I know that, and I knew that too. Day 10 will be tomorrow. We'll be talking about something else. My name is Jason Fortune, and this is Unmasked. I appreciate everything, and I'm grateful and honored for this space. Honored to share with you. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.